Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to our last workshop of the day, presented by Jonathan Liebert, CEO of the Better Business Bureau. Did any of you attend our other workshops earlier today? Yeah, a few of you. Very good. Well, you have a head full of information, and this last one is very exciting. It's the first time we're ever presenting this information about the top complaints by industry for our region versus what's actually happening nationally. And I think you're going to be very surprised at what Jonathan's going to present to you today. So after the event today, please go back out onto the expo floor and take the last few moments, last few hours of the day to network with other businesses out there. There is a networking event starting at 3 o'clock. If you didn't know about that, it's being hosted by Connect Colorado Springs. I am serving on their business committee, and we thought this was a perfect place to start a lot of individuals networking with other businesses or with some possible clients of theirs or possible customers. So go out there, enjoy a little bit of happy hour on the expo floor with us after this event. And then if you'd like more information from the SBDC, BBB, and the Regional Business Alliance, we all are out there with booths as well. If you haven't visited those, please do. We have a lot of great workshops coming up. Small Business Week with the Better Business Bureau. And then State of Small Businesses on Tuesday. A lot of economics on what small business impact is in our region and through Pueblo County. So please try and attend those events. Attend some more of our events that are coming up later this year. But first, I'd like to introduce Jonathan. Jonathan, I forgot your bio over here on the table. I could make it up, but there's some stuff I don't want to forget. So I'm going to read just a little bit of this bio so you have a good idea of Jonathan's background. And you please read the rest of that later because Jonathan has a lot of community, has provided a lot of his time to the community, many organizations in town, and is now, as I mentioned, the CEO and Executive Director of the Better Business Bureau. He is a Colorado Springs native. There's not a lot of those around here anymore. Is a recognized leader in Colorado by the Beanstalk Foundation and was presented with the 2016 Rising Star Award by the Colorado Springs Business Journal. As the CEO of the BBB since June 2015, Jonathan has sought to increase awareness in the community of the importance of integrity and trust in business, revitalizing the BBB brand that has played a crucial role in our community for more than 30 years. Previously, he has served as vice president of Aspen Point Enterprises, where he spent 14 years building a stronger community through social enterprise, solving prevalent social issues, and serving disadvantaged populations. He is well respected as a social enterprise expert in our community. And from the SBDC's relationship with the BBB, we have a very close relationship with the BBB for many obvious reasons, such as the accreditation and building trust for the businesses in our region. And you'll see a lot more collaboration throughout the year, including a social enterprise series that we hopefully will be launching along with some roundtable discussions. So with that, I would like to pass the microphone over to you, Jonathan. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Ekta, and good afternoon, everybody. So, as Ekta mentioned, I've been with the Bureau now since June of this past year. So, I'm telling folks that I'm no longer the new guy. I'm just the relatively new guy in there. But there's a lot of things going on at the BBB, and obviously there's a lot of exciting things going on in our community. And so, like most of you, I was familiar with the BBB brand. I knew what they stood for, trust, and I knew some of the services that they offered. And as I've been the CEO now, there's a lot more information that I've learned about, and there's a lot of things that most people in our community really don't know about in terms of the services they provide. I'll give you a little bit of a tour of that today, but really we're here to talk about some of the industries in our community and also from a national perspective and really kind of where they rank, which is really interesting information when you think about it. In this day and age, mostly because of technology, social media, and the ability for anybody to go out there and post whatever they want about anyone, there's a lot of information out there on the internet. And the BBB is no stranger to getting that type of information. And so, with a lot of the social media sites, you get a lot of those informations. You might get customer reviews. That's a whole other topic and a whole other presentation. We'll cover pieces of that in here. Because like a customer review, or when somebody might go to your website, your Facebook site, or whatever, and leave some information about your business, a lot of folks will call the BBB. So, and leave, a customer complaint. And that's a lot of what we process. That's a lot of what we do. And we've been doing that for a very long time. And I'll give you just a little bit of a background here and some of the history of really kind of how this evolved. And this chart here, I'm sure, is kind of difficult to read, but we've been here in the Colorado Springs area in southern Colorado since 1980. And we cover the southern part of Colorado. And we have been in business nationally for over 100 years. And really the whole point of BBB, why it was founded, was to encourage marketplace trust, but also to make sure that businesses that were operating with integrity, they're doing things the right way, would have an avenue to tell people that they have kind of been vetted. And that's the whole point of our accreditation process and that little logo, that little BBB seal. And also to call people out in the industry that weren't doing things very well and that were doing a bad job, and letting customers know and letting other businesses know. So we have two customers. We have folks that are buying products from other businesses, and we also have businesses that we work with, and we work with both of those. And so we have different models for both. And so the conversation we'll have today is really about when customers have a bad or poor experience with a business, they're going to come talk to us. We'll post some information online for folks to read, and we'll provide that information for everybody. And so that's really how the process works and has worked over time. So as I mentioned, we're about trust in the marketplace. When people fail to meet one of these 8 standards, so anybody that's accredited with the Better Business Bureau, we vet them. We go through a process to ensure that they have these qualities and that they are upholding those. And so we get a lot of people that will come in and say, you know what, somebody didn't advertise honestly. Somebody's not telling the truth. Somebody had poor customer service. Somebody didn't honor a contract. They didn't come and do what they said they were going to do. Those are all the types of complaints that we're going to get from people, and then try to work with the business to make sure that they are doing something about those. And so that's kind of the conversation of who we're going to be working with today. But before I get to that, I just wanted to kind of bring this up too, to talk about just the brand recognition. So what does that mean? What does a brand mean? Again, when you have an iconic 100-year-old brand, there's kind of some pros and there's cons to this. The pros that really kind of that we like to talk a lot about is that people trust it. They know what it is and they understand how to use it. So when you look at this right here, and this is from a survey from the Nielsen Group, this comes from our national organization, and this is data from 2015. 80% of people who are familiar with the BBB brand agree that it's trustworthy. And more importantly, I think this 82.7% of people that are familiar with it and see that little accreditation seal, they're more likely to buy from it. And that's really the message that we're going to be telling this community, and nationally everybody's talking about this at the BBB, of buy from businesses that have that accreditation seal. Why? Because you can trust those businesses. Because if something does go wrong, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure they fix it so that that letter grade stays an A or an A+. So this just kind of talks about how many people in our region are reviewing the information that we're sending, just to kind of give you a little bit of context before I show you the list and talk about some of the industries that are on there. So we have about 3,100 accredited businesses. We've got about 10% of the market here in southern Colorado. Nationally, the average is about 6%, so we're nearly double what the national average is. So we've got a lot of accredited businesses that are here in this town. And I think that tells you a lot about not only the types of businesses that are here, but also the type of people that are here and who they want to do business with. Because of that, you'll see you've got 1.1 million business reviews that are read. This is in 2015. So people are going to our website, which is a free resource, and they're going online to look to see what other people are saying about those businesses, about your businesses. Because while we've only got we've got that 3,100 mark there, we're keeping track of, in southern Colorado, about 29,000 businesses. And so that's information that's on the website, that's information that we update, and we want to make sure that we're providing good information to the public and just to other businesses, because this is valuable information. And in the past, we were the only ones kind of doing this, right? Now there's a lot of other people doing this as well. And so the difference between the other organizations and the BBB, for the most part, is that I'm going to make sure that anybody that goes on and says something about a business, I'm not just going to post it. Right? So there's other sites out there that, you know, anybody can go on anytime and be anonymous and say whatever they want, which can be very damaging to businesses, right? And there's not a whole lot you can do. And that's the value of the BBB, is that you can come and talk to me. I'm in your community, right? We have we have an office on Wasatch Street, downtown. Come see us, come talk to us. Versus those other sites, you know, They're in California. They're in Seattle. You can call a phone number and try to talk to somebody, but they're not in your community. So that's the value of the BBB, is that we're hyper local. There's 113 throughout the United States. We're in the communities. We have local boards of directors. Those local boards of directors represent the business community, all of you. And so that's the value of doing that and doing business with us, because we know the community and we understand it. So when somebody comes in and says, you know what, I have a customer complaint, I'm going to ensure that a business transaction actually took place before I do anything with it. Because people will come to me and say, hey, this is a bad situation. Here's what's going on. And yeah, I used to work for them. It's like, well, hold on. You used to work for that person and you're kind of a disgruntled employee. Well, no, that's not how this works. So when we talk about the complaints that I'm going to show you here, those are actual transactions that did take place that we have vetted as real and then posted them. So unlike other places, well, they'll just kind of put whatever you want on there. That's not how it works at a BBB. So this is the list, and there is a separate list that was out there, so you have this as well, and if you don't, there's some over here on the table. But this is the top 25 industries by complaint, and this is the local Southern Colorado list, and this is also the national list. And you can see it's very, very different. From a national perspective, you've got cell phone companies, telephone communications, auto dealers, television collection agencies in the top 5 categories, and there are none of those in the top 5 categories over here locally, which would make sense because it just depends on what types of businesses you have in your area and what types of businesses you have in your region. So for us, and you can see there too with the number, it just gives you an idea, some perspective. So the top national, which is cellular, is 35,000 complaints. And then for roofing contractors, there's 115 complaints. And the point of this list is not to point out to say, oh, these are terrible industries and they're doing bad work. That's not at all what we're saying. It's not at all what I'm saying. All this is telling us right now, so if you look at roofing contractors, which there's 115 complaints, that's only about 4% of the entire complaints that we receive. So it's not a lot, but that's where they rank. And again, it's not to say that they're doing a poor job in our area. It's to say, we've got some interesting weather here in Colorado, right? Most of you hopefully lived here for at least a couple seasons. You know how this works. And so here's what happens. So we get these hailstorms, right? Hailstorms come in, they tear up the roofs, they have damage. And then what happens? Somebody's at your doorstep, right? Has this ever happened to you? Hey, I've got this great deal for you. I can fix your roof for very, very little money. Or sign this form and I'll get the insurance to take care of it for you, right? Those are folks that usually will come from across state lines. They'll come from somewhere else. And they'll go to your home because they see on the news or they hear on the news that there was a storm, and they're going to come and do some work for you. Now, I'm not saying all those folks are bad, but a lot of them are. They'll take a down payment of $400, $500, and then you'll never see them again. In some cases, you'll get a good price. They'll come do the work, but you might need some warranty work, or you want to do some repair later on, and you can't find them because they're not here. And so that's why you get roofing contractors. That's one of the reasons why you get a lot of those issues, because other people will come here because of the nice, beautiful, wonderful, strange Colorado weather, which likes to tear up those roads. And so other folks know that. They'll come here and do business, and then they'll leave. And so that's why we get some of these complaints. And what that does, too, is that, again, what I tell folks as well is that, when anybody comes, just be careful anybody that comes to your door. But just in general, when you're trying to do work, especially on your house, go to the website. Go to bbb.org and just look it up. We have cards over here. Call us. We can tell you. It's free information, and so it's good for folks to know who to buy from. And so the people that we're vetting through that accreditation process, we put them through some hoops to make sure that they're doing a good job. They do what they say they're going to do. They've been in business for at least a year, and that they have a storefront. We know how to contact them. They're doing good things. And so those are the people that you want to use on your roof, or a lot of these other things. So heating and air conditioning, plumbers, landscape contractors, property management, painting contractors, home builders. See the theme kind of going on there? A lot of folks in those trades are people that are getting a lot of complaints. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that these are industries that you need to be careful of or be warned. There's a lot of good people in there, but there's also a lot of people that, like I said, will come in and do some work here, leave the state. Well, there's a lot of people that will do some work here, but they're working out of the back of a truck. And they're trying to make a living, and that's fantastic, but it's going to be difficult for you when you're trying to get a hold of them and they don't live here, or they've gone out of business. Because, and again, sometimes, I'll tell folks a lot, you get what you pay for. That might be a fantastic price for that roof. they might not be in business in a year. So again, make sure you're looking at the list and make sure you're seeing who you can buy from and purchase from. A lot of other things in here, I'm not going to kind of get into those. We'll talk about the top 5 a little bit in those areas. Nationally, you'll see people are not too happy with cell phone companies, services, drop call, those types of things, because we don't have those headquarters here in Colorado Springs. We're not seeing a lot of those complaints. But if there was a headquarter, there's some television companies, I'm not going to say any names, they get a ton of complaints. There's one company in particular that, sign up now and you get this fantastic price and you'll get it for this much a month, and then a year goes up and they triple it. They're getting a lot of complaints right now. People don't like that. So again, advertising honestly, those types of things. So these are the industries. So just again to put it into a little bit of perspective for you, when you're looking at BBB Southern Colorado, the average number of complaints that we get in our office is about 149 in a month, versus when you look at what's going on at a national perspective, about 104. Total complaints for 2005 was just a little under 3,000, where you got 1.2 million overall. And then for our marketplace, we're ranked 84 out of 112. So we're on kind of the other end of the spectrum, where a majority of the businesses here are doing really good things. And as I mentioned, we have a little bit more that are accredited here than in other parts of the market. As a matter of fact, I think we're 7th in the nation in terms of percentage of businesses that are accredited here in Colorado Springs. And as I showed you with that other slide before of who's looking and who's using it, people do look at that website. They do go online and they look around and shop before they buy, because there's a lot of people to choose from. And again, as I said, on this day and age, unfortunately, scams, fraud, all those types of things, there's a lot of that going on right now. And so that's one of the main reasons that we exist too at the BBB, is to make sure we're informing businesses and informing consumers of some of the things that are going on out there, to make sure you protect your business, and also as a consumer that you're protecting your wallet and making sure, in some cases, you're protecting your home, so that you're using that good place and those good information. So this is just a little bit of information that I've covered most of this already. We don't have the headquarters, as I mentioned, so if we had larger companies headquartered here, we'd probably see more complaints. We don't. The TOB, that's a type of business. That's a BBB term. There's 115 for roofing, but again, as I mentioned, that's less than 4%. And when you are, as business owners, you might get one. You might get a complaint. And I'll show you what the form looks like if you get something from BBB. These are some of the complaints that we'll process. And so somebody might come in and say, well, I had this contract issue, or there's a delivery issue, it didn't come on time. Customer service is a big one. Repair issues, sale issues. These are the types of complaints that we'll process. And then when we get those in, we verify that this actually did take place. Then what'll happen is you'll get this email. And this will show you kind of the process of what will happen, how you verify your complaint. And this checklist over here. This is some of the stuff, it's very important. And again, in this day and age, as I mentioned, not just from a BBB perspective, but on Facebook, on Yelp, on all those other sites where people are posting information, the most important thing I can tell you is you got to respond. You have to respond, because people are using that information and they're going on there and they're trying to kind of create maybe some bad publicity. Most of the time, though, people just want to be heard. And that's really kind of the bottom line. So if you're getting a complaint, if you're getting some of this information, just know that people usually just want to, acknowledge, I got it, sorry that happened, let me see what I can do. And then usually they'll come back to us if it's handled the way they want it to, they'll take it down. If they decide not to take it down, then it will stay on our website for about 3 years, and it'll cycle off. But as I mentioned, be prompt. Don't put off that responding to that individual and responding to that specific complaint. Because what will happen on our website is the initial complaint will go in there, and then after that, your response will be plugged in right after it. So while somebody might be looking to see how many complaints there are, at the same time, we check to see how many of those complaints are left unanswered, which will impact your letter grade. Because what a lot of people don't know too, for those of you who have businesses, you don't have to be an accredited business to have a letter grade at the BBB. And so you can have an A+ rating and be accredited. You can have an A+ rating and not be accredited. Either way, people are going to go and use our website to determine what your letter grade is, and they're going to use that to make a business decision and a purchase. It's just another way for people to verify. For those of you who saw Mark Biddle earlier in the marketing presentation, tell your story, really get yourself out there, differentiate yourself in the marketplace. But then I would tell you too, do your research, do your homework. And I'm here today to tell you, at the BBB, we know people are doing research on businesses. They're checking you out, and they're using our webpage to do that. So when they're going to go online and look to see what your grade is, how many complaints you have, and oh, by the way, we have customer reviews, which is an ability for people to leave a positive comment. So if you guys have customers that just love you and love what you do, tell them to go on to our website and leave a positive customer review. Because not only does that look good when somebody goes there and looks at what you're doing and reads your profile, your business profile, but it will increase your SEO, which is an important thing in this day and age. So be prompt, rely on your records, not your memory, keep it simple, maintain a professional tone, and take a second look, have somebody proofread it for you, just to double check before you respond. And you're always welcome to come and ask the BBB. Ask us for advice. Ask us for help. That's what we're here to do. We're here to support you. We're here to support the business community. We're here to provide good information to the consumer. So as I mentioned, the first one is just respond. Please, please, please respond to those complaints, because sometimes we'll get people that we'll send a letter to that are not accredited, and they'll kind of say, well, how come I'm getting this letter? How can somebody come in and complain about me? I didn't sign up with the BBB. And that's really, like I said, that's the kind of the beauty of the organization that we have. So we're not for profit. We're not a government agency, although people you throw the bureau name out there and they'll think we're a government agency, and we're not. We're not for profit. And we're really just kind of a group of consumers that want to make sure that we're putting good information out there. So when a business receives that letter and they'll say, well, I didn't sign up for this, I didn't sign up for anything. It's like, well, that's not how this works. That's not how the BBB works. And that's not how other organizations work now too, like a Yelp. So there's more of these out there where people are leaving these reviews. Facebook just got into it, for those of you who haven't seen that. Now you can rate with a 5-star rating system on Facebook. Businesses. Amazon is doing it. Everybody's doing it right now. And so people have the resources now to go and look at multiple sites to see how your business is doing. And again, one of the most trusted sites is still BBB. When you look at just the domain authority that we have, we've got a significant amount. We're in the top 500 in terms of national websites that people will use in terms of brands they trust to go and do research on information on businesses. So just respond. Like I said, if those complaints go unanswered, that will affect your letter grade. And again, like I said, you do not have to be an accredited business to have a letter grade. And so people are always on there looking to double check to see what you're doing and what you've done. So turn that complaint that somebody leaves into if you can, a positive experience. Get people to come leave a positive customer review. To your raving fans that you have, tell them to go on our website and put some good stuff in there. That'll absolutely help you. The next one is to acknowledge and apologize. Sometimes it's not even an apology. Sometimes, as I mentioned before, it's just that acknowledgement. Just saying, this is just a bummer that you had this experience, or I was unaware that this situation took place. Here's what I want to do to fix this. This is not how we normally run, and things happen. It happens to all of us. Somebody's having an off day. Something kind of slipped through the cracks. Just acknowledge that problem took place, and then figure out how you can do something. So again, address each of the issues, because sometimes they'll have more than one. You want to make sure that you're writing to each of those and responding back to that consumer, and making sure that they're aware that you know what's going on with that issue and that you're going to do what you can to fix it. Provide documentation. So if the customer story doesn't match, this happens a lot, because again, there's that emotional reaction that a customer may have, and they're put out, they're upset, and they'll provide this information. Again, we'll verify that the business transaction took place before we even send you a letter, but at the same time, it might not line up exactly with what you remember. If you've got documentation or information, then give it to us, and then we'll post that on there. Or in some cases, if we see that everything was written down, even though the customer may say, well, they never told me this, and you've got the document that says, well, it's right here and right here, we'll take down that complaint and we won't process it. So if you've got documentation that will support your side of the story, that's good to have. Be proactive. Typically, folks will go to the business before they come and talk to me. And so when they're going to you first, just address the issue. Again, acknowledge the problem. Try to solve it. And as I said before, they're usually trying to just seek some of that acknowledgement. Sometimes they want an apology, and then sometimes it's a refund. Most of the time, it really is just sorry, we messed up. What can I do to help you out? And they'll say, you know what, thanks for acknowledging me. I just wanted to be heard. So that's what will happen a lot of times in the beginning if you catch it early. If it kind of goes through the BBB process, they're usually kind of looking for some type of refund, or I don't know how many times people will say, Jonathan, give them an F rating. They deserve it. It's like, that's not how this works. Then they get mad at me. But there's a process we have to follow. And so again, we're there to really make sure we're providing accurate information to customers, but also helping businesses present their side of the story and have a forum to answer those complaints on our website. Have good contracts. This is one of those things that just kind of seems like common sense, but it's amazing how many people really don't put stuff in writing, which will confuse customers, throw them off, and then that's when you'll get some complaints. So have good, solid contracts. That way you really make sure people have the right expectation of what they're going to get from a product standpoint and what they're going to get from all of you. And then be respectful. Again, some common sense stuff, but and it's hard to do sometimes, especially when somebody's attacking your business or attacking what you're doing. This person was terrible. This is the worst business ever. Those are some of the things that we'll tell them to leave out of their complaints, because a lot of people will kind of get personal. It's like you can't do that. It's got to be factual information. It can't just be your opinion and those types of things. But at the same time, from a business side, you might want to go on the offensive a little bit there too. And for us, we'll say, keep it simple, keep it straightforward, keep it emotionless, keep that just respect in there, and be able to answer that. And then, as I mentioned already, seek positive feedback. So again, a lot of times out there, people will say, well, BBB, that's a place where you go get your grade, and that's a place where people go and just complain. And we do a lot more than that. And for you as businesses, as I mentioned, one of the most important things you can do is go out there and solicit customer reviews from your businesses. Have them go on our website, and this is the logo you would look for, and submit a review, because that's the ability for folks, your customers, to say fantastic things about you. And again, unlike some of those other websites that are out there where it's all anonymous, we vet everything, and we're going to make sure that it's not anonymous, number one. Number two, that something did happen. A good business transaction did occur, so you can put that on their website. And again, the more of these positive reviews that you have on there, that's going to improve your SEO. So the BBB brand already looks for that. Google looks for that, when it's doing its algorithm. Because again, that Google will look for the BBB logo just as a person would, because they associate that logo with trust. So does Google. And so if you're going to put customer reviews on the BBB website, and that's already on your business review page, and you'll get more of these positive customer reviews, it'll see that, and it'll help improve your SEO, which is really kind of cool. And so this is what I was getting at there. So when you do, so here's just a quick example. So if somebody's typing in plumbers here in the search engine, this is an organic search. You can see right here, Colorado Springs Plumbers, Better Business Bureau, BBB.org, and then it would go to the BBB business page on that. So typically, and try this when you leave here, just go do an organic search for something. Type in roofing, type in plumbing, type in electricians, whatever you want to put in there. And typically, within the top 5 rankings, you'll see, and it could bring up a business name, but right below it, it'll be the BBB.org business page. So Google looks for this information. And as I mentioned, if you have more of those positive customer reviews on there, it will help on those rankings. It'll help push them up for you. So just something to think about when you're doing that. Just wanted to kind of plug this event for some of you. You may have received this award before. Some of you may have applied for this award. This is our Night of Excellence event. It's our big event in September. This is something to think about as well, to kind of push your brand out there and do some really good things. We have a large customer service award, and there's still some time to submit an application, although it's a pretty lengthy process. We have a group of folks that volunteers for us that will actually sit down and spend about 42 hours with you. And people tell us when they go through the process that even if they don't win, and by the way, we can have multiple winners. So it's not where you're competing against other businesses that put in for the award. You're competing against you. You're competing against your business. And what's great about this is when you get these businesses that come in, they'll spend about 42 hours with you on customer service. And it's basically the same as having a consultant come in and sit down with you to tell you how to improve your customer service process. And it's about the equivalent of $16,000. because of the time that they're spending and because of the people that are doing it. And so they really help you refine your process and improve your bottom line in most cases, which is really, really fantastic. So just something else to think about as we're talking about, some of the negative connotations of complaints. There's also those positive things in terms of customer service that we'll award, as well as those customer reviews that I talked about. So just in closing, thanks for attending. If you are not an accredited business and want to learn more, I'm happy to ask or answer any questions that you have and teach you some more about how that works and how that works for you. If you're a consumer, use the website. It's a free resource. And this is something that everybody should be using, quite frankly, just because of all the good information that's on there and all the data that we put in there and all the stuff that we process. And then spread the word. Tell people about us. Tell them about the customer review program. For you business owners, make sure you're telling your folks to go onto the BBB website and put in a positive customer review for you. It will help your business. So with that, thanks for attending. Thanks for coming today, everybody.